The Last Watcher. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the UES horizon, watching the ghostly dance of quantum particles trail behind her ship like cosmic dust. 20 years of deep space patrol had taught her that the universe was vast, empty, and utterly indifferent to humanity's dreams of finding others among the stars. Yet here she was, defying orders, investigating an anomaly that by all rights shouldn't exist. The holographic display beside her flickered with sensor data that made no sense. The object hanging in space before her ship violated every known law of physics. Its surface seemed to shift between states of matter, sometimes appearing solid, sometimes like liquid metal, and occasionally becoming completely transparent. "Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice crackled through the ship's comm system. The anomaly's energy signature just spiked again. It's responding to our presence." Sarah's fingers traced the familiar outline of her grandfather's compass hanging around her neck. He had been one of the first deep space explorers, disappearing with his crew while investigating a similar anomaly decades ago. The brass compass was all that had ever been found of his ship. "Take us closer, Rodriguez. Quarter thrust." "Ma'am, Command explicitly ordered us to maintain distance and wait for the research vessel." Sarah smiled slightly. "And in 12 hours when they arrive, we'll be able to provide them with detailed preliminary scans. Purely in the interest of scientific efficiency, of course." The horizon glided forward, its sensors drinking in data from the mysterious object. As they drew closer, the anomaly's surface began to crystallize into definite form. A ship, but like none they had ever encountered. It was massive, easily dwarfing their patrol vessel, its hull covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like living circuitry. Suddenly, every display on the bridge went dark. Sarah felt a presence brush against her mind. Alien yet somehow familiar. The compass at her neck grew warm. "Commander," Rodriguez's panicked voice cut through the darkness. "We've lost all systems." Before Sarah could respond, a voice that wasn't quite a voice echoed through her consciousness. "Identity marker detected. Legacy sequence initiated. Welcome, inheritor." The darkness lifted, but the bridge had changed. The walls seemed to breathe with soft bioluminescence, and floating before Sarah was a figure composed of shifting geometric patterns that occasionally coalesced into an almost human form. "I am the curator," the figure said, its voice now audible to everyone. "This vessel has waited 238 years for one who carries the mark of the First Contact Protocol. You wear it around your neck, Commander Chen." Sarah's hand clutched her grandfather's compass. This was my grandfather's. It was a key, given to your ancestor when he proved humanity's potential. He was not ready to receive our legacy, but his genetic markers were promising. We sent him back with the key, knowing it would find its way to one who could complete the trial. The truth hit Sarah like a physical blow. Her grandfather hadn't disappeared. He'd been chosen, tested, and sent back with a purpose. She was the culmination of that purpose. What trial? What legacy? The curator's form shimmered. "We are the last remnant of the architects, a civilization that spanned galaxies before your kind learned to make fire. We seeded the cosmos with our knowledge, waiting for species worthy of inheriting it. Many have found our vessels, all have failed the trials." Around them, the ship's interior continued to transform, revealing technologies beyond human comprehension. Walls became transparent, showing engine systems that seemed to bend reality itself. Holographic displays materialized, showing star maps of impossible detail and complexity. "Your species stands at a crossroads, Commander. Great darkness approaches from the void between galaxies. You will face it alone, unless you prove worthy of our legacy. But be warned, the trial will remake you, as it remade your grandfather. The choice must be yours." Sarah looked at her crew, their faces a mixture of awe and fear. She thought of Earth, of humanity's desperate push into space, of all the empty worlds they'd found. Now she knew why. They hadn't been ready until now. "What's the first trial?" The curator's form solidified slightly, almost smiling. "Brave like your ancestor. The trials begin with transformation. Your ship will be the crucible. Before Sarah could respond, the alien vessel's energy field expanded, enveloping the horizon. Light coursed through the hull, and Sarah felt something changing in her body at the molecular level. The compass grew hot enough to burn, its metal seeming to flow into her skin. As consciousness faded, she heard the curator's voice. "Remember, Commander Chen, each trial will test not just your ability, but your humanity. For what use is power without wisdom to guide it?" The last thing Sarah saw before darkness took her was her own hand, now traced with flowing patterns of light that matched the alien ship's circuitry. The legacy of the architects had begun its work, and humanity's trial was about to begin. Rodriguez's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Commander, Commander, something's happening to the ship, to all of us." Sarah Chen had made her choice. Now she could only hope it was the right one. Whispers in the void. Consciousness returned like a tide, washing over Sarah in waves of sensation she had no words to describe. Her body felt both impossibly heavy and weightless, as if she existed in multiple dimensions at once. The flowing patterns on her skin pulsed with a soft blue light, synchronized with her heartbeat. The horizon had changed. Gone were the utilitarian gray walls and standard-issue displays. The ship had become a hybrid of human and architect technology, its surfaces now rippling with the same living circuitry that marked her skin. Her crew lay unconscious at their stations, similar patterns beginning to trace across their exposed skin. The integration proceeds as expected. The curator's voice emanated from everywhere and nowhere. "Your vessel's quantum architecture is accepting the upgrade, but your crew, they struggle." Sarah pushed herself to her feet, fighting against gravity that seemed to shift with each movement. "What's happening to them?" "The same thing that happened to your grandfather's crew. The legacy cannot be contained by one alone. A ship needs its crew, and the legacy needs anchors in multiple consciousness nodes to stabilize." Through the transformed viewports, Sarah saw the architect vessel had changed too. Its massive hull now pulsed in rhythm with the horizon, the two ships linked by threads of energy that defied normal space-time. "Your grandfather's crew rejected the integration," the curator continued. "Their minds couldn't accept the expansion of consciousness required. He chose to return rather than watch them die. Will you make the same choice?" Before Sarah could answer, Lieutenant Rodriguez gasped awake, his eyes glowing with the same inner light that marked their skin. "Commander," he whispered, "I can hear them. So many voices, all the ones who failed before." The legacy was more than technology, Sarah realized. It was memory, consciousness, the accumulated experiences of countless species who had faced this trial. Through her new connection to the ship, she could feel the echoes of their attempts, their failures, their fears. "Show me," she commanded, and the ship responded. The viewport became a window into history, showing her civilizations that had discovered architect vessels throughout the galaxy. Some had tried to weapons the technology and destroyed themselves. Others had retreated in fear. Many had simply gone mad from the weight of the knowledge offered. "The darkness comes," the curator said. "The entity your kind would call a harvester of worlds. It has consumed galaxies, digested civilizations, absorbed their knowledge and technology into itself. We seeded our vessels as weapons against it, waiting for a species with the strength to wield them." Through their shared connection, Sarah felt her crew awakening one by one, each experiencing the same expansion of consciousness. Some screamed, others wept, but none rejected the integration. "Why us?" Sarah asked. "Why humanity? Your kind possesses a unique adaptability. You thrive on change, metabolize it into progress. Other species seek homeostasis. Humanity seeks transformation. Even now, your crew adapts faster than any before them." The ship's sensors, now enhanced beyond anything human science had achieved, detected a ripple in spacetime. A massive object was approaching from the depths of intergalactic space, its gravity well distorting light itself. "The harvester comes," the curator announced, drawn by the energy of our integration. The trial begins in earnest now. You must complete the transformation before it arrives, or your world will be its next meal. Sarah felt the truth of it in her altered DNA. The patterns on her skin burned brighter as the ship's systems interfaced directly with her nervous system. Through the crew's shared consciousness, she felt their fear, their determination, their trust in her decision. How long do we have? At its current velocity, the harvester will reach your solar system in 72 hours. If you reject the legacy, we can hide this vessel again, and it will pass your world by. For now. But it will return, and you will face it alone. Rodriguez stood at his station, his movements now fluid and synchronized with the ship's living systems. We're with you, Commander. Whatever you decide. Sarah looked at her transformed crew, at the legacy literally written into their flesh, at the approaching darkness that threatened everything they had ever known. Humanity had always faced its challenges head-on, adapting and overcoming. This would be no different. Teach us, she said to the curator. Teach us everything. The alien presence seemed to smile. The second trial begins. Remember, Commander Chen, the legacy is not just knowledge. It is responsibility. Are you prepared to bear the weight of civilizations? The patterns on her skin flared with power, and the real transformation began. The price of knowledge. Time moved differently within the architect vessel's influence. What felt like moments to Sarah and her crew stretched into hours as the legacy poured into their transformed minds. The knowledge was overwhelming. Secrets of quantum mechanics that made Earth's most advanced theories look like child's drawings, biological engineering that could reshape entire species, and weapons that could unmake reality itself. Your minds are adapting well, the curator observed as Sarah absorbed another stream of impossible knowledge. But knowledge without understanding is worse than ignorance. Show me what you've learned. Sarah nodded, letting the new information flow through the crew's shared consciousness. Rodriguez worked the transformed controls of the horizon, now more with thought than physical action. The hybrid ship responded instantly, its systems bending space in ways that should have been impossible. The harvester, Sarah said, watching the tactical display track the approaching entity. It's not just one being, is it? It's a collective consciousness, like what we're becoming, but twisted, corrupted. Correct. The curator's form shifted, showing her images of the harvester's previous victims. It was once like us, a civilization seeking to preserve its knowledge. But it chose to take rather than give, to consume rather than teach. Each world it devours adds to its consciousness, trapped within its unified mind. Through her enhanced senses, Sarah could now detect the harvester's true nature. It was a wound in space-time, a hungry void that consumed not just matter and energy, but consciousness itself, and it was accelerating toward Earth. 48 hours until contact, Rodriguez reported. The knowledge integration is at 60%. But he hesitated, his patterns flickering with distress. Speak freely, Lieutenant. The weapons systems, Commander. The things we could do with them. We could depopulate worlds, collapse stars, tear holes in the fabric of space. Should anyone have this kind of power? It was the question that had haunted Sarah since the transformation began. The legacy wasn't just changing their bodies and minds. It was challenging their very concept of morality. How could humanity be trusted with such devastating potential? The curator's presence brushed against her consciousness. Now you understand the true trial. Power is easy to give. Wisdom to use it, that must be earned. Warning signals flashed across the hybrid ship's displays. The harvester had detected them, its vast consciousness reaching out like tentacles through space. Sarah felt its touch, ancient, hungry, and utterly alien. It offers you a choice, the curator translated. Join it willingly, add your potential to its collective, and your world will be spared absorption. Fight, and it will consume everything. Through their shared connection, Sarah felt her crew's reactions. Fear, anger, determination. But underneath it all, A uniquely human response. Defiance. Using her new understanding, Sarah analyzed the harvester's offer. The patterns on her skin shifted, processing data faster than any computer. It's lying, she realized. It can't help itself. Consumption is its nature now. Even if we joined it willingly, your world would still die, the curator confirmed. But you would watch it happen through the harvester's eyes, trapped within its consciousness forever. Sarah accessed the weapons systems, feeling the raw power at her disposal. They could strike now, while the harvester was still distant. The knowledge was there, how to create a quantum singularity that would tear it apart. But the cost would be devastating. The same weapon that could destroy the harvester would create a chain reaction, sterilizing dozens of potentially life-bearing worlds in nearby systems. There has to be another way, she said. All this knowledge, this power, it can't just be about who has the biggest gun. The curator's form stabilized, becoming almost solid for the first time. And that, Commander Chen, is why humanity might succeed where others failed. You understand the hardest truth. Sometimes the greatest power is in choosing not to use it. Sarah turned to her crew, their patterns pulsing in synchronization. The harvester thinks in terms of absolutes, consume or be consumed. But we're human. Adaptation isn't just our strength, it's our nature. We need to find a third option. Through their shared consciousness, an idea began to form. The architect's legacy wasn't just about weapons and technology. It was about transformation, about evolution itself. If the harvester was a corrupted collective consciousness, perhaps it could be changed rather than destroyed. It's never been done, the curator warned. To attempt to alter something so vast, so ancient. That's what humans do, Sarah replied. We see impossibilities as challenges. Rodriguez, begin calculating jump coordinates. We're going to meet this thing halfway. The lieutenant's patterns flared with understanding as he grasped her plan. You want to merge our consciousness with it. Commander, that's suicide. No, Sarah said, watching the tactical display as the harvester drew ever closer to Earth. It's evolution. The architects created their legacy to fight this thing. But maybe fighting isn't the answer. Maybe what it needs is what we've been given, a chance to transform into something new. The curator's presence radiated what felt like approval. The third trial begins, Commander. You seek to change that which has devoured galaxies. But remember, transformation goes both ways. Are you prepared for what you might become? Sarah looked at her crew, seeing in their altered forms the bridge between what humanity had been and what it could become. The patterns on their skin pulsed with power and possibility. We're about to find out. Trial by fire. The Horizon's hybrid engines pulsed with impossible energy as they accelerated toward the approaching harvester. Sarah stood at the command interface, her transformed body processing information through multiple dimensions of space-time. Through the crew's shared consciousness, she felt their determination tinged with fear, not of death, but of failure. 20 minutes to intercept, Rodriguez reported, his patterns flickering with concentrated effort. The harvester's consciousness is expanding. It knows we're coming. The tactical display showed the entity's true form, a mass of twisted space-time larger than Earth's moon, riddled with the absorbed technologies and consciousness of countless civilizations. Within its quantum structure, Sarah could detect the echoes of screaming minds, trapped for millennia in an eternal moment of consumption. Your plan is unprecedented, the curator observed. No species has ever attempted direct consciousness integration with the harvester. The risk of being absorbed rather than achieving transformation. That's why it will work, Sarah interrupted. The harvester expects resistance or surrender. It doesn't understand adaptation, evolution. It's been static for too long, consuming but never changing. Through their enhanced senses, the crew could feel the harvester's attention focusing on them. Its vast consciousness pressed against their minds like an ocean of hungry shadows. Images flooded their shared awareness. Worlds burning, civilizations falling, knowledge stolen and corrupted. It's trying to break our resolve, Rodriguez said, his voice steady despite the mental assault, showing us what happened to others who fought. Sarah accessed deeper levels of the architect's legacy, understanding flowing through her transformed nervous system. No, look deeper. It's not just showing us destruction. It's showing us its nature, its loneliness. The revelation hit them all through their shared connection. The harvester was ancient, powerful, but ultimately alone. Each consciousness it absorbed became part of its collective, but remained isolated, unable to truly connect or evolve. It was trapped in an endless cycle of consumption, desperate to fill a void it couldn't understand. Commander, one of the bridge crew, called out, her patterns surging with sudden insight. The legacy's integration. We're at 98%. But there's something else. The patterns we're generating, they're creating a new frequency. Something that wasn't in the original architect data. Sarah felt it too. The human consciousness, multiplied and enhanced through their shared connection, was producing something unique. Their patterns weren't just copying the architect's design. They were evolving it, creating new configurations that even the curator hadn't seen. Remarkable. The curator's presence rippled with what felt like excitement. Your species' adaptability. It's not just accepting the legacy, it's transforming it, creating a new form of consciousness integration. 10 minutes to intercept, Rodriguez reported. The harvester, it's slowing down. Commander, I think it senses what we're doing. The tactical display confirmed it. The vast entity had reduced its velocity, its consciousness patterns showing signs of confusion. For perhaps the first time in millennia, it had encountered something it couldn't immediately categorize as food or foe. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the power flowing through her transformed body. Begin consciousness broadcast. Full spectrum, all frequencies we've developed. Show it everything. Who we are, what we've become, what we offer. The Horizon's hybrid systems responded, projecting their shared consciousness across space. They showed the harvester humanity's history. Not just their achievements, but their failures, their ability to learn, to change, to become more than they were. They showed it the legacy of the architects, not as a weapon, but as a tool for transformation. The entity's response was immediate and overwhelming. Its consciousness slammed into their shared awareness like a tsunami of raw information. Sarah felt her crew's patterns fluctuate under the assault, but they held together, their human adaptability allowing them to bend rather than break. Energy spike. Rodriguez called out. Commander, it's trying to interface with us. Not consume, actually connect. Because we're offering something it's never had, Sarah realized. Not surrender, not resistance, but change. Evolution. A way out of its endless cycle. The curator's presence expanded around them, supporting their consciousness against the harvester's pressure. The final trial begins. You must maintain your identity while opening yourself to connection. Too much resistance, and transformation fails. Too little, and you become part of its collective. Sarah felt the balance point, the razor's edge between preservation and transformation. Through their shared connection, she guided her crew, their patterns synchronizing into a new configuration that was neither fully human nor fully architect, but something entirely new. Now, she commanded, and they opened themselves to the harvester's consciousness. The impact was beyond description. Millions of years of accumulated knowledge and experience flooded their awareness. The patterns on their skin blazed with power as they fought to maintain cohesion. Through their shared connection, Sarah felt some of her crew screaming, others laughing, all of them transforming as they interfaced with the ancient entity. And in that moment of connection, they felt it, the first spark of change within the harvester's vast consciousness, a tremor of possibility, of evolution, of transformation freely chosen rather than forcibly taken. Commander, Rodriguez's voice seemed to come from very far away. Something's happening to the harvester structure. It's changing. Sarah opened her eyes to see the impossible. The entity's form was shifting, its twisted space-time beginning to unknot itself as new patterns, human patterns, spread through its quantum architecture. The price of change was about to become clear. Legacy of the stars. The universe held its breath. In the space between moments, between heartbeats, Sarah felt the transformation rippling through reality itself. The Harvester's consciousness, vast and ancient, merged with their shared awareness in ways that defied comprehension. Through their connection, she felt the entity's history unfold. Its origins as a civilization not unlike humanity, its fear of extinction that led to desperate choices, its gradual transformation into something that consumed rather than created. The integration is reaching critical mass, Rodriguez reported, his voice distorted by the waves of energy flowing through the ship. Commander, our patterns are evolving, becoming something new. The tactical display showed the impossible. The Harvester's structure was unfolding like a flower blooming in accelerated time, its twisted form straightening as the human-modified architect patterns spread through its quantum framework. Within its consciousness, the trapped minds of consumed civilizations began to stir, awakening from their eternal nightmare. You've done what we thought impossible. The curator's presence rippled with something like awe. The Harvester isn't just changing. It's remembering what it once was, what it could be again. But transformation came with a price. Sarah felt it in her modified DNA, in the burning patterns that now covered most of her body. The human consciousness was never meant to channel this much power, to bridge such vast gulfs of understanding. Through their shared connection, she felt her crew straining against the limits of their enhanced biology. We can't maintain this connection much longer, she realized. Our bodies are burning out. Then we complete the transformation now. The voice came from within the Harvester's consciousness, but it was changed. No longer the hollow hunger of before, but something resonant with new possibility. Your gift of change must not end with us. Through their merged awareness, Sarah understood. The Harvester wasn't just accepting transformation, it was offering one in return. The countless minds it had absorbed over millennia, each with their own knowledge and perspective, could be freed. Not to return to what they were, that was impossible, but to become something new, something that could guide other civilizations away from the paths of destruction. The legacy evolves, the curator observed, as it was meant to. Sarah felt the choice crystallize in their shared consciousness. They could withdraw now, survive as they were, leaving the Harvester transformed but alone. Or they could complete the synthesis, knowing it would change them forever. She thought of Earth, of humanity's endless drive to explore, to understand, to become more than they were. Through their connection, she felt her crew's agreement. They had come too far to stop now. Begin final integration, she commanded. The Horizon's hybrid systems pulsed with power as they fully opened themselves to the transformation. The patterns on their skin blazed like stars as human consciousness merged with ancient knowledge and newly awakened minds. Sarah felt herself changing, becoming part of something vast, yet intimately connected, infinite yet perfectly balanced. Through it all, their human identity remained, not destroyed or absorbed, but evolved. They became bridges between what was and what could be, their adaptability allowing them to maintain individual awareness within a vast collective consciousness. The Harvester's form completed its transformation, becoming a structure of impossible beauty. Part ship, part living entity, part quantum computer. Within it, thousands of ancient minds awakened to new purpose, their knowledge and experience now tempered by human creativity and resilience. The transformation is stable, Rodriguez reported, his voice carrying echoes of the vast awareness they now shared. We've done it, Commander. We've changed everything. Sarah looked at her crew, seeing in their transformed forms the future of both humanity and the legacy they had inherited. The patterns on their skin had stabilized into new configurations, neither human nor architect nor harvester, but something that combined the best of all. No, she said, feeling the truth of it in every altered cell of her being. We've only begun. The curator's presence merged with their expanded consciousness, its purpose fulfilled yet continuing in a new form. The trial is complete, though not as any expected. You have not merely proven worthy of the legacy. You have transformed it. As you transformed the harvester, as you will transform yourselves. Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt the ripples of change already spreading across the galaxy. Other architect vessels were awakening, responding to the new patterns they had created. The legacy would continue, not as a weapon or a test, but as an invitation to join something greater than themselves. We should return to Earth, Rodriguez suggested. They'll need to understand what's coming. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight and wonder of their new purpose. Humanity had evolved, but they hadn't lost their essential nature, their curiosity, their adaptability, their drive to explore and understand. If anything, these qualities were enhanced, refined, given new context and purpose. Earth is just the beginning, she said, watching the patterns of possibility unfold across space and time. We'll show them what we've become, help them understand and adapt. Then together, we'll reach for the stars, not to conquer or consume, but to connect, to transform, to evolve. The Horizon's engines hummed with new power as they turned toward home. Behind them, the transformed harvester followed, no longer a threat, but an ally in the greatest adventure humanity had ever undertaken. In the vast darkness between the stars, patterns of light danced and shifted, telling a story of change, of growth, of possibilities without end. The legacy of the architects had found its true inheritors, and the universe would never be the same.